Europe is really one of the smallest continents in the world, spanning from Portugal all the way to Greece and Turkey. Why are you so small? Wait a second, it's not Turkey that's small, it's Europe that's too big. Yes, today we have made Europe 10 times larger than it usually is. We also have mini South America and mini Africa. Madagascar is still the same size though, and it's really weirding me out. How is a very thick Europe going to affect the world? Probably in multiple ways, but for now we are going to play as the thinnest country in Europe, Mr. Portugal. Ruled by this guy, Mr. Antonio de Oliveira Salazar, a conservative nationalist. We are going to go with historical focuses off, yes off, and we shall begin. And here we are as Portugal in this giant European world, and you might notice that some provinces are looking a tiny bit square. Well, there is a reason for that, and that reason is that when you upscale the entirety of Europe, some provinces don't come out looking as good as they do when they're small. Also, I'm not really certain what's happening with the cities to the top right. It's like a radius that's stopping them from rendering. Dresden? No Dresden. Dresden? No Dresden. Dresden? No Dresden. Someone named Churchill would prefer no Dresden, I'm pretty sure. So as Portugal, we start out with some horrible national spirits. But you know what? I'm certain this huge, beautiful focus tree is going to fix them. It's actually not as big as I initially thought it was going to be. Especially when compared to the Spanish focus tree. But the Spanish focus tree is deceptively big because you can only do one of these lines here. Well, for our beautiful, very thin country here, we're going to go with the only path that makes us a lot thicker and fatter. A royal wedding. And of course we have to check how the Ethiopian war is going. The really tiny Ethiopian war. The provinces are actually as small as they could be. Also, for some reason Djibouti is underwater. You know what? It's French, so don't question it. I am curious though how the units look here, so don't mind me. Okay, they're all completely cramped. I'm not really sure if this is going to help Italy or Ethiopia. But I'm certain our beautiful Excuse me, Mussolini? Well, it looks like Mussolini has eaten a bit too many chocolate cookies this time. It's okay, Mussolini, your country is big, so you can also be big. You're beautiful at any size you are. And the German Civil War has now begun, and considering Germany is now the same size as America, it's actually a very big civil war. The biggest effect this huge Europe is going to have is that the provinces are now so big that it takes a long time to travel between them. Look at this poor German unit, it takes it like 3 days to travel between one province. As for us, I realized Brazil is actually smaller than we are, but they are quite a lot wider, so you know what, it still works. So let us steer some monarchy sentiment in our old colony. Speaking of colonies, we still have our small, tiny colonies in Africa. Their population is still the same though, so I really would not like to live here. Mussolini, by the way, is slightly struggling, but it looks like he's going to win. Although he is encircled here, but he's about to break it. Wait, never mind, he's not? Ay, Fatolini. You should focus less on eating and more on leading your country. And Ethiopia has been annexed. The Italian Empire is now 2% bigger. Was it worth it, Mussolini? Was it worth it? Looks like something is going on with the British Empire, and their leader is now the fallen government. But wait, this isn't 2023, or 2022, or 2021, or 2020. The sad thing is, I could go on. And if you couldn't tell by the huge dark cloud over Lisbon, we have now turned monarchist. So we're led by this cool new guy, Mr. Dom Duarte Nuno, and our flag is looking very beautiful. In all honesty, Portugal should bring this flag back. The Spanish Civil War has begun, but it's not the only civil war happening in Europe right now. Have you ever heard of the Polish Civil War? The Polish Peasant Union versus Sanitary Poland. I'm not really sure who's going to win, but Greeny Poland is making me extremely uncomfortable. I have some very bad news. Mussolini ate a bit too much pizza and pasta and he is officially dead. So now Italy is ruled by this guy, Mr. Dino Grandi. You will never be what he was. The good news though is that the Brazilian people are now officially supporting the monarchy. So let us pick this beautiful focus right here. France in the meantime is doing French things. And Brazil has now become an empire, led by the Prince Pedro Henrique, and he is absolutely horrible. I don't really like the way he's looking at me. Excuse me, China? You know something is going terribly wrong when one of the Chinese countries joins Japan. Let's see how long China is going to last. And Brazil has accepted the unification. So we now have an even cooler flag, and we are a lot wider. Well, kinda. I'm not really sure why, but our borders look extremely beautiful. And of course, now that we've taken Brazil, we are going to use all of the resources to build up the mainland. Because nobody said it was going to be a fair deal. I don't want to speak too early, but I think Republican Spain is going to win this war. And they have in fact won. Which means now they only have a total of 4 divisions. Well then, Spain, I'm sure you wouldn't mind if we got some claims on your territory. Well, we got the claims, but we still can't justify the war goal. We need 50% world tension. Soon, Manuela Zana, very soon. I'm not really certain what's going on in South America, and at this point, I don't really want to know. And you know what? I bet it's extremely insignificant. You can't even tell anything is different if you look at them from far away. The UK is now doing some very UK things. I swear, you turn on a historical and Europe just becomes a huge mess. Even Turkey is having their own mini civil war. This is looking extremely weird. Maybe as weird as the Caucasus being connected to Crimea. We seem to be getting quite a lot of communists around us. The Comintern seems to be expanding very aggressively in the Americas. And if Republican Spain joins them, we are going to be in big trouble. Thankfully, the French Commune seems like it's going to lose, so we don't have to worry about the Communist France. And France has won over Communist France, but they have for some reason puppeted this one area here. The autonomous region of southern France. Why would you do this, France? Well, the good thing is we now have enough world tension, so Spain, don't mind if I do. Excuse me? Germany, why did you go to war with Mexico and invite Panama into your faction? And Mexico is part of the Comintern! Well, Operation Barbarossa seems to be starting a bit earlier this time, and our war goal is ready, so Spain, declare war. And while their troops might be better than ours, we have a lot more of them than they do, which means we can go completely around them like this. And the encirclement is done, very beautiful, and Spain has capitulated. Now, it would make sense to puppet them, but considering we want to be as big as possible, we are going to annex the entirety of Spain. That's magnificent. In all honesty, Portugal and Spain should unite just for the borders. Although we still have one thing that's really annoying me. I'm looking at you, Edward VIII. What kind of name is that? Barbarossa has completely failed and Germany is encircled in Königsberg. The big deciding factor in this war is going to be whether Poland joins the Comintern or not. And considering they are communist, it's looking like they will. The UK just declared war on Iceland, and Iceland is in a faction with Norway and Finland. Finland, by the way, is yellow for some reason. We now have a new country in Scandinavia, America. Ahistorical is really something else, isn't it? Paraguay joining the Central European Alliance, of course. As if America wasn't enough, Finland also now has to deal with the Soviet Union. I'm gonna go out on a limb here and say that this faction is completely done. And Poland has done the unexpected and attacked the Soviet Union. This could completely turn the tide of the war. They've already done some small pushes into them. Of course, they joined the Finnish faction, by the way, which means they are now at war with America. The Chinese war is over, and we have 1, 2, 3 Z-base en masse. As if the world was not chaotic enough, Australia is now allied with Japan. A very odd alliance, but I really like the Australian guy's hat. Oh yeah, Z-base en masse is now China, by the way. So we have 3 Chinas. You know what? I've had enough of all of this chaos. With the entire world fighting and hating each other, it's time for somebody to bring order to this chaos. And who better than one of the most chaotic countries in the world, Portugal, Brazil. So let us pick this beautiful focus right here. Once we declare on Italy, we're gonna have to storm through France as quickly as possible. And we also have to worry about the Brazil-Brittany front here. So I'm gonna send some units up here to defend it. I really wouldn't like to be the American soldiers fighting on the freezing Scandinavian mountains right now. We have the war goal against Italy, so wars Mussolini, declare war. Kinda forgot about the French and English colonies here, but thankfully these areas are literally just empty jungles, so that's fine. Our attack into southern France is going quite well, but here's where the big Europe comes into play. Our airplane range is not enough to reach most of the air region. In fact, every single air region in Europe is quite gigantic, and it does take quite a while to move from province to province too. We are now getting quite close to Paris. Southern France has slightly stalled, but we're still steadily pushing. Britain is now ours, and Paris is very soon going to fall. We can finally take out this monstrosity of a nation here, the autonomous region of southern France. What even is this? And France has capitulated, now for Italy and the UK. I'm not really certain what this event is, but I've gotten it like 3 times already, and it keeps giving me 1 civilian factory. I just realized I forgot to turn on Fog of War. Wouldn't want to give myself an unfair advantage. You know something is going extremely wrong when Switzerland of all countries starts declaring war on people. And they might be communist, but they're part of the Japanese faction. And the airport here is is finally secured, so we may now send all of our cast here and completely bomb the Italians. Now for something I've been really dreading. Can our navy move all the way to Normandy? You know what? It somehow can. It seems like it's gonna go all around the world, but it somehow can. So it's gonna go around Africa, all the way through the Soviet Union gap, then through Scandinavia, and then to Normandy. A bit of a roundabout way to do things, but you know what? In this world, it's to be expected. Our navy is finally here after God knows how long. And just in time, because the UK is doing its own naval invasion. To the surprise of no one, Switzerland has capitulated. And to the surprise of the entire Brazilian Portuguese nation, the naval invasion is launching. And we have taken the port, very beautiful. Thankfully, this seems like one of those games where the British AI has decided it'd be a wise idea to not have any troops in the UK. Or at least to have a very small amount of troops. Finland, by the way, has been doing the impossible and they're still surviving. Same with Poland, but it doesn't look like they're going to last for much longer. And with Glasgow, the UK should capitulate. With the UK gone, we can now focus entirely on fake Mussolini. Greece, why are you red? Oh, you're communist. Why do you become red when you're communist? Why does Finland become yellow when they're communist? I just heard the naval invasion sound and I was worried for a second the UK was going to invade somewhere important. But no, they are in fact invading this island right here. Nice job, UK. And the civil war has now begun in Italy and they immediately capitulated. So now there's just one country left, Greater Hungary. It doesn't look like Hungary is gonna last for that much longer. And Hungary has capitulated. Now let's decide the new borders of this beautiful world. And the peace deal is done. We have gotten all of France and all of the UK. Italy is our puppet. Ireland is independent along with Northern Ireland. The UK is still alive in the island of Man with the capital of Douglas. And most importantly, we have secured Africa, baby. But there is still one area, one small tiny area right in the middle that I really want to take. I'm looking at you, Belgium. So we are going to justify a very beautiful war goal. 125 days? Germany, how about you? How long is it gonna take for you? 30 days? Very respectable. For some reason there are two Croatias. There is a Republic of Croatia and an independent state of Croatia, which also happens to be part of the greater East Asian co-prosperity sphere. The justification against Germany is ready, so Germany, declare war. It seems like Germany was slightly underprepared for this because we are pushing them on every single front. They don't even have to worry about the Soviets yet, they only border them on this one province here. So I was looking over at Portugal and I realized we are being invaded by Chile. Yeah, I kinda forgot that South America was right next to us. Hopefully these 24 units can handle it. I'm genuinely trying to understand where all of the German units are. There's basically nobody here. Please don't look at South America, by the way. And as a matter of fact, don't look at the UK either. And Berlin has been taken, so Germany should capitulate very soon. And once Hamburg falls, they should capitulate. We are cutting it slightly close though, but we should have enough time to capitulate them. And Germany has capitulated. And the peace deal is done. We have finally achieved complete domination over Mini Africa, almost complete domination over South America. And I wasn't really certain what to do with Germany, so I gave some of them to Guatemala, some of them to Honduras, some to the Central American Socialist Republic, and some to the South American Socialist Republics. The original Germany still exists in Austria, by the way. This part of Europe is looking, yeah, it's looking like a complete mess. Asia also looking like a mess, but at least now there's only 2 Chinas instead of 3. And America looks exactly the same. Finland, by the way, is still alive. Poland is also alive somehow. So what could happen if Europe was 10 times bigger than normal? Well, it could be a huge mess like usual, and Mussolini would get a heart attack. Thank you very much for watching. A huge thanks to Bing Bong, Dizon and Sacre Bleu. A big thanks to Mapping Knight and Corvenet as well, and to every other member for supporting the channel. If you want to see more craziness, you can become a member. Like the video if you liked it, dislike it if you disliked it. I love you very much, and goodbye. Mwah.